Hello everyone and welcome to another one of my videos. Today we're going to be talking about QuickBooks Online, and I'm actually going to step you through some procedures on how to create an expense in QuickBooks. I get a lot of questions on how do I do this. So today we are going to look at this step. Alright, so we will open QuickBooks Online. This is a sample company, so they have a little ad there for you. But if you look at the left column, there's a menu. We are going to go to Expense and Expenses to create an expense. But first I will show you this kind of dashboard. If you've never seen QuickBooks before, this is what the front of it looks like, a lot of numbers and information. Okay, and we'll go to Expenses. Now the expense screen is where you will see anything that has to do with expenses. Expenses are things that have come out of your bank account or increased your credit card balance, anything along those lines. And as you can see, there are different options: credit card expenses, bills, purchase orders, checks written, anything from cash. Those would all be in your expense window. Okay, now to create an expense, your first step would be to create vendors and your checking account and your general ledger and many other steps. But today we're just going to focus on creating an expense. So you can do that in one of two ways. You can do the plus sign up here, and you can go to create expense. This is the window we're going to look on. Of course, there are many other ways to create expenses, checks and bills and all those. Today we're doing the expense screen specifically. And the other way is there's a new transaction button here where you can go down and create expense as well. So those are two of the simple ways to get there. Now once you are on the expense screen, you can add whichever vendor you would like. So we're going to go ahead and pick Books by Betsy. And we could use this screen to create anything to do with an expense. So like a credit card charge, a debit card charge. You could write a check here. It's not recommended because this will not print out. If you're printing checks from the software, you cannot use this screen to create a check that is printable. So I use this mostly for credit card charges. So I will open this up, and you can see we have several options on credit card charges. They have MasterCard, for example. You can put today's date, or if it was prior to today, if you have a whole stack of a month worth of receipts, you would go ahead and put them all in at once. And you can use this payment method. So we know it's a MasterCard, so of course you put a MasterCard here. If it was a cash expense, for example, you could have picked cash. Reference number can be left blank, but you can also put something that you would know, like February, or I guess this would be March 2021, if you want to do that. Or you could use an example of like pet expenses, whatever makes sense for you. We'll put March 21, for example. Now QuickBooks has this new thing called tags, and you can use tags as something like this, where you have specific job expenses that you're trying to keep track of. So if you're construction, if you are trying to keep a specific address available, and then you can move on from that. However, I don't use tags as much as some other options, so that's usually blank. We go to categories, and then in categories, these are also your general ledger accounts as income expenses that then get followed through on a profit and loss statement. So we'll just do for this expense, we're going to go down here to office expenses. So maybe you bought some kind of special book for your office. You can put a description here like training, video, or whatever, and then your amount would be $10. And you could connect it to a customer. So example, if you were going to bill it to a customer as an expense, you can do that here. Otherwise, you will leave that blank as well. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and do save and new, and you will see after it's done thinking that it will just give you the same expense window again. So here we can pick another vendor, like we went and got fuel for our vehicle, but maybe this time we actually used our debit card instead of a credit card, so you would change it to checking account because it's going to go through your checking account, show up on your check register, and everything, so you'll need to reconcile that later. This time I'm going to leave the payment method blank, the reference number blank, the tag is blank, and you'll see down here that it automatically came up as fuel. So the system does learn, the more you use the system, what accounts you will use, and you can go over here and change this to whatever the amount was for today, and then you can click on save and close. So once you do that, you will see that, hold on, save and close. Well, it didn't close for us today. Okay, so once you save and close, you will see the window you had up before you entered the expenses, and here are the latest two things that we added. You'll see they're both expense accounts, and you can see the categories you did, your payee amounts, and you can see that I had a reference number in one and not in the other. So that is how you enter an expense, a basic expense, and that will follow through on your financial statements and everything else. Now, that's just the quick overview of how to create an expense on QuickBooks Online. And now I just want to tell you about a event that I'm having. In about a week and a half, I'm going to have an online class where you can come in live and we can go through these training steps together, and I can take questions and make comments, and I'll have handouts so you can look at that. You'll also get access to the recorded videos later as well, and you will see in the comments of this video the information on how to sign up for that class. Also, if you are not the type of person that likes being at a specific place at a specific time, you can do a self-paced class, and I'll have the information to sign up for that as well, also in the comments. And just take a look around, enjoy, and then catch my next video next week.